Yo, what's going on? Good morning, this is Andrew, Zero Draw Drew, Pip Catchers Administration. Welcome back to another video. If you're new, like, subscribe, keep us motivated. Put this shit out every week. Now let's get into it. So GBP USD, we're going to start with GBP USD like we always do. Like I said, we look at those four pairs, right? So GBP USD, we've been talking about these past couple weeks. If you've been watching these videos and kind of keeping up with what we've been talking about, I've been saying GBP overall is bearish. So yeah, we finally got that move to the downside. Uh, you know, looking at this, I thought it was going to happen earlier on in the week, but it didn't happen until later. It is what it is. We didn't catch the 150 pip drop, but you know, we're going to do what we could do now, right? So looking at GBP USD, getting off track already. We had that 150 pip sell off, which happened, you know, the last day of the week, honestly. Right, so looking at this on the weekly chart, we are looking at these levels listed. All side liquidity overall is at this 1.26750 support, so we can technically drop another, 180 pips, but I don't know if that's going to happen right away, right? So looking at the weekly chart, like I said, we're looking at these levels listed. On the daily chart, over here, as you can see, we're looking at this level right here, this 1.28577 resistance. We're also watching this key support, this 1.27700 support level right there. And overall, we're looking at that 1.26700 key support level, right? So looking at this, right, overall direction is down. I don't think, this thing wants to wake up anytime soon. But you never know, right? You never really fucking know what's going to happen. But, and that's why I'm a day trader, and I kind of like to react with what's going on that day and get in and out, and that's it. Because, shit is always changing, and that's that. So, fuck, I keep getting off track. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. So, on the daily chart, like I said, we're looking at those levels listed, right? So, I think for the time being, Monday into Tuesday, we might want to continue this bearish trend, for the first 2 days. So we might get bull traps above one of these levels listed during one of the sessions. It might continue down to one of these levels into Tuesday, and then it might trap bears somewhere over there and then push up to buyer liquidity, Tuesday into Wednesday night, right? But there is no bias. So like I said, you just want to wait for a session and kind of react to what you see. Especially with GBP USD, with this whole sell-off that just happened, there's not much price action to really work with right now. So what I would do is I would just really wait for a session, kind of wait for price action to set up. I do think, price wants to push up a little bit, maybe trap bulls above one of these levels and then start to push down. But like I said, I do think price wants to maybe trap bulls the first day, move down, trap bears, and then maybe push up to those buyer liquidity levels up at up to the retest of these previous levels. Like on the daily chart, we took out these levels, so there's a chance that we might just come back up and retest those levels before anything. But due to the aggressive sell-off, who knows what's going to happen. We could technically just push up to that 577, reject, and start to move down. So guys, just react to the levels listed and kind of play it by day, right? If you got any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM, instagram.com/ZeroDrawDrew. I know that might have sounded a little bit confusing. You can't really do much after a sell-off like that. Whenever you see a sell-off or, a big rally and there's not much price action, the best idea is just to wait for price action to kind of set up. That way you have data to work with, right? So let's get into the next one. GBP JPY. GBP JPY on the weekly chart, we got this big ass doji. We got this big ass rejection to this 168.015 resistance level, which is that level right there. So we kind of pumped up and rejected to that level, right? So last week I was talking about, how all buyer liquidity was grabbed, above that level, and to kind of look for bull traps, but the bull trap never really set up on the hourly chart. So I don't think anybody would have been able to catch that opportunity anyways, because, we'd even drop into value. The fucking sell opportunity didn't set up. So if you entered the sell, you entered it a little bit too early, right? So we rejected that level, and right now what I'm starting to notice is we're approaching that key support level, that 164 600 level, which on the hourly chart is right here, this 164,600 key level, right? So overall, we did reject that level, and on the daily chart, we're coming back to that key support level, that 164,600 level, right? So all seller liquidity overall is below this level, this 164,640 level, and you know, this level and this trend line right here. So I would wait for, you know, price to maybe drop through that trend line, trap bears, and then push up to one of the buyer liquidity levels. Or if price, you know, moves up to one of these levels, look for bull traps for the sell opportunity down to seller liquidity. But what I think is actually going to happen with this is, I think, you know, we might drop first, you know, kind of similar to the other pairs. We might drop the first, you know, Monday into Tuesday, trap bears, and then start to find support at one of these levels, and then push back up to, you know, the buyer liquidity level. So you guys just want to react to the levels and kind of play it by day, and just react during the session of your choice. So on the 15-minute chart, reading the same shit. Like I said, all seller liquidity is below this level, and overall this trend line right here. All buyer liquidity is above this 165,420, and overall this trend line right here. So I do think price wants to drop, maybe trap bears, and then, you know, push up to that buyer liquidity, and so on and so forth, right? GBP, JPY, Euro USD, Euro USD, Euro USD, Euro USD. All right, guys. So Euro USD on the weekly chart, we got this rejection right here. As you can see right here, we got this strong rejection, which, you know, can go both ways, right? I think, I don't know. Actually, I really don't know what the hell is going to happen with Euro USD, but there is a chance that this wick right here can technically be a bear trap, and we might start to wick up. We are at that key level where we have seen reactions, you know, big moves up, at this level. So, you know, there is a chance that we can trap bears below that level. I don't really like selling at these levels because, you know, we are at, you know, key lows, but we can technically keep dropping on the weekly chart. There is no bias. Remember, we are trading in uncertain times, so we might see things that we're not used to seeing, right? Oops. So, but I'm sorry, I keep getting off topic. Euro USD, right? We got this weekly chart. There is a chance that this can be a bear trap, right? But we don't have any bias, right? So we're just kind of we're going to trade what we see, right? So on the weekly chart, we got this pump, and then we rejected back in, right? On the daily chart, we pumped back in and then push back out. Now on the hourly chart, looking at this, guys, if I sound off to you, you guys can literally just go back in the last video, watch what I said about Euro USD, watch what I said about GBP USD, watch what I said about all these pairs, and just kind of look at what the hell happens in the chart, because I'm very fucking accurate with this analysis. So if I sound off, it's because, you know, either price action is overextended or whatever, and, you know, shit needs to happen before anything happens. But last week, let me just explain what I said last week. Last week I said, you know, price was over here last week. See, last Friday, right? It was over here. I said the 2 days we were going to drop, and then Tuesday into Wednesday we were going to come back into this value right here and then swing up. And that's exactly what happened. You could go back in the last video and watch that. I have also with the gold one, with the bull trap at that level, I called that huge sell-off. There's multiple moves I've been giving out for free on these charts. So if you don't trust what I'm saying, just go back and kind of believe in me, because like the shit I'm saying is pretty fucking accurate. Okay. All right, but I want to stay humble, because that's the only way you can keep winning in life. You know what I'm saying? So that was last week. That was this week. And I'm not saying this shit to fucking brag. I'm only saying this so that you guys could kind of trust this analysis. I want you guys to go back in the videos and see that they actually play out. Like, I've been fucking calling moves like this for 5 years. So I got nothing to really prove to anybody. I just want to put that out there. If you guys are questioning the analysis, go back in the last videos, watch, and kind of gain confidence before you could actually execute on what I'm talking about, because that's kind of key to really winning in this game. You need to have confidence, really. Okay? So, Euro USD. Oh, we didn't even go over gold yet. All right, so Euro USD, like I said, getting off topic again. We got that wick at that key level. Like I said, there's a possibility that we do see bear traps to this level. On the daily chart, we did drop back into that 1.08050 support level, right? On the hourly chart, like I said, we dropped into that 050 support level. So I do think, like I said, I do think that there is a possibility that we might see bear traps to that level. But kind of similar to last week, I do think bears do want to continue for the time being and maybe take seller liquidity before at one of those levels and then start the squeeze up. The reason why I'm saying that is because kind of looking at this, we are reading this inverted like crown, if you're starting to see what I'm saying. Like we got this inverted like crown, that's the head, that's the shoulder right there, and that's the other shoulder. So technically, I do think that that crown can kind of, you know, make its way up and squeeze up. That's why I'm saying it might be a bear trap, because I see a crown. Excuse me. So I do think, you know, price wants to drop below one of these levels, trap bears, you know, Monday into Tuesday, kind of similar like last week, and then squeeze up. So like I said, guys, just look for a reaction to one of the levels listed and kind of play it by day. Looking at the 15-minute chart, we got this crown pattern right here. All buyer liquidity is above that high right there, right? All seller liquidity is below these lows right here, you know, and this low right here. Whoops. So yeah, guys, just react to the levels and just kind of play it by day. Get your fucking money. And yeah, so like I said, guys, Euro USD, I do think, you know, price wants to continue moving down for the first 2 days. So all buyer liquidity overall is, you know, at one of these levels. Especially, you know, I would look for bull traps to this trend line right here for the sell opportunity down to the seller liquidity level. And then, you know, overall, I do think we might want to push back up. So that's it. That's Euro USD. On to the next one, right? So gold, looking at gold, right, on the weekly chart, we had this big push down on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, looking at the daily chart, I was talking about this before. I said that this is where all buyer liquidity is, and that's exactly where, you know, the sell-off started to fucking take place, right? So you guys could go back and watch that if you want. And but I'm not going to talk about that again. So like I said, weekly chart, we got that big sell-off at that key support level. On the daily chart, one thing I do notice is we had these wicks to this level, this 1936 level. So bears are still in control. We took out those wicks, so all buyer liquidity is grabbed. On the hourly chart, normally I would be looking for bear traps to one of these levels for the buy opportunity, but looking at the daily chart, you know, seeing that we took out those wicks gives me reason to believe that we might continue moving down for the time being. So all buyer liquidity is at that 1936 resistance level. So looking at the 15-minute chart, that's that 1936 resistance level. We're watching this trend line right here. So maybe look for bull traps there to short down to one of the levels listed. I do think overall gold is going to push to this trend line right here. On the weekly chart, I mean on the hourly chart, I do think gold wants to push through one of these support levels, maybe find support there, you know, trap bears at one of these trend lines. This trend line right here in particular, we might trap bears there and then start to move up to newer highs depending on how we react to that level. So like I said, gold weekly chart, we had that sell off. On the daily chart, we took out those wicks. We're watching that 1936 resistance level. On the hourly chart, normally I'd be looking for bear traps, but since we took out those wicks on the daily chart, I do think we have more room to fall. So I'd look for a reaction to 1936. Also looking for a reaction to 1927 and this 1915 and the trend line overall, and just kind of play it by day, right? So we're gonna do quick little recap that way, you know, because I was kind of all over the place with this fucking video, but if you stuck to the end, I'd want you guys to understand. So Euro USD, we had that weekly rejection, that doji candle. Daily chart, we pumped back in, came back out, watching that 08050 resistance level. On the hourly chart, like I said, we have that crown like pattern starting to form. All seller liquidity is below that level. I do think price might want to drop, you know, the first day, you know, Monday, and then maybe trap bears below and then squeeze back up. All buyer liquidity is above, you know, that trend line and the levels listed. So like I said, guys, just react to levels listed and kind of play it by day. GBP, JPY, we had that weekly rejection to that resistance level over there at 168.015. On the daily chart, we're approaching that 164.600 support level, which is reading a crown on the hourly chart. All seller liquidity is below that level in the trend line. All buyer liquidity is above that right shoulder, and overall that trend line right there. So I do think price might want to drop first, trap bears, and push up to buyer liquidity. Kind of play it by day with that one. So on, so forth. GBP, USD. We're looking at, you know, that 1.28600 resistance level. On the daily chart, we sold off very aggressive last week, but we are looking at that resistance level, that 1.28577 level. We're also watching that 1.27700 level and that 1.26700 level, right? So I do think price might want to continue down. We need more price action to work with before we do anything. But I do think maybe the first, you know, day or two, we might trap bulls and move down to seller liquidity, trap bears, and then squeeze up to the retest of one of those levels listed on, you know, the weekly chart. So that is it, guys. If you guys got any questions, DM me, Instagram.com/ZeroDrawDrew. I know this shit could sound fucking confusing, but I'd be more than happy to help you guys out because I live for this shit, and, you know, seriously, I live for this shit. So like this shit, subscribe, and we'll see you guys when I fucking say you. Peace.